Sharingan Madara. Alright, so this is baby Madara we're talking about. Back before he became the Uchiha boogeyman, he was just a kid with big dreams and a way too complicated life. Dude literally got born into war. Like, no childhood, just hands from day one. And those days, he somehow struck up this low-key, wholesome friendship with Hashirama. Imagine two future legends, from rival clans who hate each other's guts, just out here skipping stones together while their families are off doing genocide. It's like Romeo and Juliet, but with more kunai and less kissing. Back then, Madara actually smiled. No, seriously, they were holding on to that dream where clans could finally chill out, and kids wouldn't have to die before hitting puberty. He and Hashirama were just two boys dreaming of a better world. But nah, life said, "That's cute," and slapped the dream right out of them. These two were destined to be enemies, and when push came to shove, Madara picked his clan over his best friend. And that choice, that pain, boom, Sharingan unlocked. That was the first time his eyes ever awakened. Because in the world of the Uchiha, trauma isn't just a side effect, it's a power boost. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan Madara. Alright, now we're getting into Madara's real menace era. So, after Tobirama Senju absolutely wrecked Izuna on the battlefield, dude was done. Bedridden, finished, no comeback arc. But before he passed, Izuna gave his eyes to Madara. Yeah, straight up donated his eyeballs like some kind of ninja organ transplant. Why'd he do it? Two big reasons. First, to keep the Uchiha's power from dying out. Second, to give Madara the strongest weapon possible to protect the clan. And that's how the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan was born. A rare power-up that happens when you combine the DNA of two brothers, creating a brand new eye pattern that's got both their powers baked in. There's something you have to know. Madara was actually the first Uchiha ever to awaken the Mangekyo Sharingan. And yeah, it gave him broken-level abilities. But every time he used it, his vision tanked hard. By the time the big war rolled around, his eyesight was already fading fast. But then Izuna's eyes fixed everything. First, no more going blind from using your powers too much problem. That curse that haunted the Uchiha clan for generations? Gone. Second, it leveled up all his Mangekyo powers. And look, Madara already had cracked chakra reserves and inhuman durability. The only thing holding him back was the whole can't see issue. Now that that's fixed, he's spamming Mangekyo abilities like a Call of Duty kid with unlimited ammo. No cooldowns, no drawbacks. Just straight heat, back-to-back jutsu in long, dragged-out battles. And he made sure to use every ounce of that power. This man had so much raw power in those eyes. He literally took full control of the Ninetales, not just for a moment, not just a sneak attack. He dominated the beast for an extended period. Turned Kurama into his personal murder pet. Like, full obedience, full rage mode, all under Madara's control. You know what? Every other ninja village tried to do this. All of them. None of them even came close. But we're just getting started, because then he pulled out the perfect Susanoo. Fully armored, dual-wielding chakra swords the size of buildings, literally tall enough to cast a shadow on a mountain. Every time that thing swung a blade, landscapes disappeared. Not buildings, landscapes. And just when you think that's the peak of overkill, Madara hits you with the "why not one-up myself?" He wrapped Susanoo around the Ninetales. This combo was genius. It showed off Madara's insane battle IQ and control over chakra. You get the raw destruction of Kurama plus the god-tier defense of Susanoo. All offense, all defense. No weak points, no cooldowns, no balance patch coming anytime soon. This was one of the most busted power combos in all of Naruto. It took the best parts of both powers and erased the downsides, turning Madara into an actual force of nature. Just a moment, if you're into epic battles, emotional moments, or just want to laugh out loud with some totally funny and crazy characters, then you're definitely in the right place. Click that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our videos. Your one click means a lot to us. It seriously helps us stay motivated and keep making even better content every single day. Now, the Ghost of Uchiha. After that legendary throwdown at the Valley of the End, the whole shinobi world thought Madara Uchiha was dead, killed in battle by Hashirama Senju. But nah, that was just the cover story. That moment marked the beginning of Madara's era, the Ghost of Uchiha. He went off the radar, vanished from history, but behind the scenes, He was pulling strings like a puppet master, messing with the timeline, influencing events, and lowkey, causing most of the major chaos in the entire Naruto story. Seriously, if something terrible was happening in the ninja world, odds are, Madara was behind it. Now here's where things get extra wild. Before he died, Madara literally ripped a chunk of Hashirama's flesh during their fight. Yeah, no metaphor here. Dude bit the first Hokage like it was a chicken wing. That one savage move set everything in motion. By planting Hashirama's cells into his own body, Madara pulled off two massive feats. He could connect himself with Gedo Mazo and extended his life way beyond natural limits. He laid the groundwork to unlock the Rinnegan, the legendary dojutsu of the Sage of Six Paths. Well, he had to wait decades for the Rinnegan to actually activate, like a long-term investment. But once it kicked in, he became something the world had never seen before. He had Uchiha DNA, he had Senju DNA, and of course, Rinnegan. That combo made Madara the closest thing to the Sage of Six Paths himself. At that point, he wasn't just a shinobi anymore. He was something else entirely. After Obito got crushed during the Third Great Ninja War, literally crushed under rocks, Madara found him and pulled off the most cold-blooded manipulation in the series. From a psychological angle, this was elite-level brainwashing. He waited until Obito witnessed the worst moment of his life, Rin's death. And while the kid was emotionally shattered, broken beyond repair, Madara slid in smooth like a cult recruiter and said, "Yeah, this world sucks, but I've got a solution, an illusion where everything's perfect. You'll be happy forever with your girl." That was it. That's how he flipped Obito. But he didn't stop there. Madara didn't just use Obito, he rebuilt him. He drilled his entire life is meaningless philosophy into Obito's head, until the guy basically became his ideological clone. So even after Madara's actual death, the plan was still running like clockwork. Obito would carry it out exactly how Madara wanted. Yeah, Madara was doing all of this from the shadows. He didn't step onto the battlefield. He didn't lift a sword. He just moved pieces behind the scenes and reshaped the entire ninja world. From a power perspective, this was something else. Madara showed that true strength isn't just about flashy jutsu or monster chakra. It's about influence. It's about patience. He turned the entire shinobi world into his personal chessboard, and nobody even realized they were pawns. Madara wasn't just after power or revenge. The infinite Tsukuyomi was his version of the ultimate fix. It was his answer to the one thing he and Hashirama could never agree on: how to create real, lasting peace. Madara's answer? You can't. Not with free will still around. So his solution was to trap all of humanity in a dream. No more war, no more pain, just fake happiness forever. Yeah, it's messed up, but when you stop and think about it, it's a dark, deeply pessimistic worldview. One that actually makes sense if you're broken enough to believe the world's beyond saving. And that's exactly how he turned Obito from a hopeful kid into one of the deadliest pawns in shinobi history. Edo Madara. Madara coming back through Edo Tensei was one of the scariest moments in the entire Fourth Great Ninja War. And we're not talking about your average resurrected ninja here. Edo Madara was basically military-grade perfection. A custom-built monster with the full Uchiha Senju package pre-installed. Sure, yeah, he died as an old man after awakening the Rinnegan. Happens to the best of us. But when he got revived, he came back in his prime, young, jacked, ridiculously powerful, and somehow still hot. And oh yeah, he had both Rinnegan locked and loaded, ready to ruin everything. At that point, Madara was the literal trump card. Even the strongest shinobi in the entire alliance looked at him like, yeah, we're done here. This man walked into the 4th Division barehanded and turned the battlefield into a straight-up highlight reel. He spammed Susanoo like he was playing some gacha game with infinite stamina. Full-body Susanoo? Check. Then he said, you know what? Let's make it fun, and summoned 25 clones, and every single clone had their own Susanoo. Like, bro, that's illegal. And if that wasn't enough, he pulled the Hashirama DNA card and started flexing wood release like a madman. Real wood release, so strong that every other Hashirama DNA user looked mid in comparison. During his fight with the 5 Kage, dude grew an entire forest, then set it on fire just to show off. He had complete control over the battlefield. The 5 Kage were just trying to stay alive. At one point, he literally looked at them and like, 5 of you? That's it? Man, go bring me Hashirama already. And then comes the Rinnegan madness. While Pain had to use each of the 6 paths powers separately, Madara was like, nah, I'll just use all 6 at once. He was absorbing jutsu, calling down meteors, controlling Obito with black rods, using the 6 paths technique non-stop. Why? Because he had infinite chakra and couldn't die. That's Edo Tensei for you. Unlimited power, no downside. Hit him with a cannon? Cool. He'll be back in 5 seconds. From a design standpoint, Edo Madara is textbook power creep. Kishimoto really said, let's create a villain so busted, you have no idea how the heroes are gonna win. And it worked. Madara didn't just raise the stakes, he broke the power scale. And that's why this version of him is one of the most iconic and terrifying moments in all of shonen anime. Alive blind Madara. Alright, this is where things get even crazier. This is the moment when Madara finally gets fully resurrected, not Edo Tensei anymore, but brought back to life for real thanks to Rinne Tensei. But here's the twist. He comes back blind. Yeah, completely blind. Why? Because before he died, he literally handed them over to Nagato. So when he was revived as an Edo, he still had those shiny new eyes. But now that he's alive again, boom, they're gone. No eyes, no vision. And look, for most shinobi, that's a death sentence. Especially for someone who relied on the dojutsu, where vision means power. I mean, your whole fighting style is built around seeing things before they happen, right? But Madara? Different breed. He didn't flinch. He didn't panic. Even blind, this man was still out here dominating the battlefield. He was using raw sensory skills to track people in real time. No Sharingan, no Rinnegan, no problem. Dude was fighting on instinct alone and winning. Because here's the thing people forget. Madara was already a monster before he ever awakened a single tomo in his Sharingan. The eyes? That was just icing on the cake. His real strength was always inside him. Blind Sage Mode Madara. Now we're hitting another level of madness. This is the part where Madara just casually strolls over to where Hashirama's body is, grabs a handful of that sweet Senju chakra, and absorbs it. Boom. Just like that, Sage Mode unlocked. And mind you, he's still completely blind. No eyes, no vision. But instead of getting weaker, he powers up. Because of course he does. Sage Mode isn't just some random buff. It gives you insane sensory perception, crazy strength boosts, and top-tier combat reflexes. And, in Madara's case, it pushes his body to a whole new tier. Now he doesn't need eyes. His senses are so dialed in, he can fight both Sasuke and Naruto at the same time, blind, and still react to things like Sasuke's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. He's literally reading their moves without even looking. Still standing tall. Still talking trash. Let's go hunt some tailed beasts. Yeah, he actually said that. And physically, Madara at this point is just busted. Every punch, every kick, supercharged by Senjutsu chakra. His speed, durability, reaction time, all maxed out. The tailed beasts ganged up and hit him with everything they had, and my guy walked out of that like it was cardio. Honestly, the biggest win for the Shinobi Alliance in this phase was that they finally made him bleed. That's it. That's the W. Oh, and here's the kicker. Most people have to train for years to master Sage Mode. Pain, struggle, sitting still for hours. You know the drill. Madara just absorbed Hashirama's chakra and then instant Sage God Mode. No training arc, no effort. He just gets it. 1. Rinnegan Madara. Alright, let's talk about one Rinnegan Madara and how even with half his eyes, he was still completely busted. The second White Zetsu hands him that Rinnegan, Madara goes straight back to menace mode. Remember, he's got Sage Chakra from Hashirama's cells, and now one Rinnegan. And with just that one eye, he can use Limbo. Let me remind you how broken this is. Limbo creates an invisible clone of Madara. Same strength, same power, but in another dimension. So while you're struggling to fight one Madara, surprise, there's 2 of him. And the second one? You can't even see. No chakra signature. No warning. Just hands out of nowhere. One Rinnegan is all he needs to start showing off high-level jutsu. He summons the Gedo Mazo, that creepy statue thing the Akatsuki used to seal tailed beasts. But instead of taking days like they did, Madara, he drags in all 9 tailed beasts at once. Like it's no big deal. And don't forget, Kurama is still inside Naruto at this point. So what does Madara do? He rips the Nine Tails straight out of Naruto, which, yeah, kills him. Just like that. And while all that's going down, he almost kills Sasuke too. Dude is literally floating above the entire ninja world, soloing both main characters, and looking down like, oh, that's easy. 1. Rinnegan Jubidara. Alright, this is where Madara becomes actual nightmare fuel. After collecting all the tailed beasts and sealing them inside the Gedo statue, he finally becomes the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails. At this point, the whole Shinobi Alliance might as well log off, because even the strongest ninja, they can't touch this dude anymore. Madara's power after fusing with the Ten Tails is insane. Even with just one Rinnegan, he's already showing off the truth-seeking orbs, those floating black spheres that delete literally anything they touch. We're talking erasure-level hacks here. If you don't have god-tier taijutsu or plot armor, then congrats, you're gone. And Madara doesn't waste time flexing. He straight up uses one of those orbs to slice off Edo Minato's last arm. Our man Minato, former fastest shinobi alive, goes from legendary to, guess I'll fight with my teeth and torso now. To be fair, Madara does finally take some real damage here. Might Guy pulls up and unleashes the 8 Gates of Death, the ultimate taijutsu. And it works. He hits Madara so hard he breaks the man's ribs and has him flying across the battlefield. But does Madara panic? Does he scream? Nah, he's just laying there, ribs shattered, face turned toward the sky, and, you almost got me. Guy is giving him the fight of his life, and Madara's just vibing. And yeah, Madara nearly kills Might Guy right after. If Naruto hadn't shown up right on time, Guy would have died for real. And remember, this is all with one Rinnegan. Madara's still not even at full power yet. God Tree Madara. Alright, so just before Madara hits peak power, he takes one more crazy leap forward. He absorbs the God Tree. And even though he still only had one Rinnegan at the time, the boost he got from the God Tree? Ridiculous. But by now, the playing field's finally starting to even out, because Naruto and Sasuke have just unlocked their Sage of Six Paths powers. Naruto's running Sage mode. Sasuke's got a brand new Six Paths Rinnegan, and for the first time, they can actually see and track Madara's Limbo clones, which means he finally has real competition. No more one-sided stomping. Now he actually has to do something. But you know Madara, he's not about to let this drag on. So what does he do? Steals Kakashi's Sharingan, gets his second Rinnegan back, and then dual Rinnegan Jubidara. Now he's got both Rinnegan and the full Ten Tails chakra, which means Sage of Six Paths mode. And yeah, he's basically untouchable. His Limbo, Border Jail, gets an insane buff. He can summon 4 invisible shadow clones now, and even Naruto and Sasuke are struggling to keep up. And then he drops the hammer with Chibaku Tensei. But this ain't Pain's version with one floating boulder. Madara summons an entire meteor shower. Naruto and Sasuke are forced to go all in, full-body Susanoo, Rasengan barrages, high-speed counters, just to stop the sky from literally crushing them. And Madara? Chillin'. He's not even sweating. He's free, floating around like he's on vacation, while they're in full-blown panic mode, trying to not get flattened. And all of this? Just a setup for what's next. Rinne Sharingan Madara. Alright, this is Madara at his absolute peak. He finally awakens the Rinne Sharingan. That third eye opens up on his forehead, and just like a true final boss, he floats up into the sky like a god. Then, he casts his dojutsu onto the moon, and boom, Infinite Tsukuyomi goes live. The entire world gets sealed inside a dream, caught in his genjutsu. Everyone, everywhere, exactly like Madara planned from the very beginning. And just when it looks like he won, everything falls apart. Because the one person Madara actually trusted, Black Zetsu, literally stabs him in the back. Plot twist. Madara was never the real mastermind. He was just another piece in someone else's game. Zetsu hijacks the plan, forces Madara to absorb all the chakra from the people trapped in the illusion. And right then and there, he stops being the villain and becomes the sacrifice. Madara, this legendary warrior who spent decades pulling strings, gets turned into a vessel. Just a shell to bring back Kaguya Otsutsuki. Now, the puppet master? Turns out he was the puppet all along. And as Kaguya rises, Madara finally realizes the truth. He was the greatest tool in shinobi history. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.